But if you're talking to your customers and then also monitoring your competitors, so you understand what works for your competitors, the reason why we don't do it is because it takes so much time. Mm-hmm. But if AI tools can help you to record conversations and pull gems out of those transcripts, or to automatically monitor the offers that your competitors are putting out on social and on their website, then that can make that type of research and monitoring easier to do, to the point that you're able to do it right and benefit. Because we all know that if we were just really able to hone in on the exact right messaging for the exact right market that we're going after, that is a multiplier, like a force multiplier for all of the marketing that we do.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Ecommerce Traffic and Conversion Podcast. I'm Scott Branley, and I'm here with my co-host DJ Sprague and our special guest Dale Bertrand. Dale, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to a lively conversation.
We're excited to have you, and I have the esteemed honor of introducing you. Dale and I have known each other for a couple of years now. We've both spoken at the the Conversion Conference. And Dale Bertrand has been an SEO specialist and AI consultant to Fortune 500 companies and venture-backed startups around the world for 2 decades. His clients include global brands such as Citizen Watch, Nestle, Raymond Weil, ExxonMobil, and Bulova. And he applies his graduate school work in artificial intelligence in search engine marketing and speaks globally at marketing industry conferences. And having seen him speak on several occasions, he's a fantastic speaker. So if you get the chance, definitely attend one of the shows or conferences that he's speaking at. So welcome again.
Well, thank you for the introduction. It's hard to follow that.
So yeah, I guess let's just kick off SEO, right? Like that's a pretty intense field to get into, and it's constantly changing. So how did you get into that industry?
Oh, wow. So it was a long time ago. So more than 20 years ago, I was in school, and one of my professors was building a website for the department and asked me if I could help them, just advise them on how to optimize the site. So back then, I don't really think SEO was a thing. What we did was we just made sure we put the right keywords in titles and also in the keyword meta tag, which doesn't work anymore. But that was a long time ago. And then after that, I studied AI in grad school. I worked as a software developer and an engineer. And then I switched back over to marketing. And that was 15 years ago that I decided to do marketing exclusively. And because I had the technical background and the AI training, everybody was asking me to do SEO, and the rest is history.
Yeah, it's interesting how you really were an early adopter. I mean, you were doing AI in grad school before most people even knew what AI was.
Yeah, before I could spell AI. But the algorithms were very different back then. Nowadays we have large language models and deep learning, and the algorithms were dedicated algorithms for image processing back then that we were working on.
Okay. I know you did a lot of work with the government.
Yes, that could have been some scary stuff, depending on how they used it, because we were working on a system to shoot down airplanes, basically, and to automatically detect whether they were civilian or military just based on an image of the airplane. So that's scary, and I hope they didn't put it into practice.
Yeah, it's wild. So AI, SEO. How is AI changing SEO? I know you're an expert in both, and you're marrying those two disciplines. So what is happening with AI in the SEO world?
Well, there's a lot. And really the way I always like to talk about it is that you have to separate how AI is changing the way marketers run campaigns and do SEO and coordinate their work on different channels. There's a ton there that marketers can use AI for. But then in my world, I focus on Google and organic traffic from Google. So the other side of it is really how Google is using AI. Google's using AI to understand search queries so that Google can understand what is this person really searching for. based on what they typed in. That's like the real intent behind the search. But then Google's also using AI to generate summaries and AI overviews and a number of other things. So Google's been an AI first company for a long time. This is nothing new for them, but it is new in terms of our consciousness as marketers. What we're using AI for and what Google's using AI for. But those are really the two big areas.
Okay.
So how can, like you said you do a lot with e-commerce clients. How are you helping your e-commerce clients to be able to understand AI or even leverage it when they're considering search engine optimization?
Yeah, I mean, our clients are using AI for pretty much everything, not just SEO. And it starts with social posts and how they're putting together graphics and images, how they might do their product photography and imagery, and then generating brainstorming ideas for calls to actions and campaigns, and helping them to write emails. I mean, I could go on for forever and ever here. It really, the way I'm thinking about it as of today is, how are our clients not using AI? The one thing I've noticed is in the e-commerce space, e-commerce marketers tend to be ahead of the curve when it comes to marketing technology. And a lot of that's because it's really performance marketing. You want to put $1 in and get $2 out with your marketing spend compared to some other industries. But so I really think, and not to criticize your question, but I think the right question is like, where's the bang for the buck when it comes to AI? Because a lot of folks are trying AI and spending a lot of time with it, not seeing the results that they expect, and then getting frustrated, and they might turn away from it. But in the e-commerce space, like, your competitors are figuring it out. You have to figure it out.
Yeah. I think in every space they're figuring it out, and everybody has to adopt and integrate AI for operational efficiencies, marketing, lead gen, communications. I mean, AI is not going away. And I think every business has to be embracing AI everywhere they can.
Yeah, so I would think of it in terms of, what are the quick wins if you're just getting started, or maybe you've been doing it for a while and you're frustrated with it. But a quick win could be brainstorming messaging for offers and calls to action. But you want to give ChatGPT or Claude, which is the Anthropic's model that I use a lot. You want to give it some context, give it information about your products and your branding and what your brand stands for, and then also some personas, which is important. But when you give it that information, you can start asking some really simple questions and getting much better answers than you would get if you were just asking these questions to what I would call a naked ChatGPT, which is a ChatGPT without the additional context. We've also used AI to help us generate marketing personas. So you could imagine that you might have some information about your best customers, some information about your products, the problem it solves. In the case that I'm thinking of, we have call transcripts, like customer service call transcripts, questions that have come over through email, and make sure that we just dump all that into ChatGPT, Claude, or Gemini, whatever you're using, and then ask the right questions. But you want to make sure that you're asking for maybe some surprising reasons why they would want to buy your product, or what would a marketer not know about this particular individual. Just trying to pull out some things from the AI that you might not have thought of. So in that sense, you're using the AI in two different ways. You're using it to aggregate the information that you've been able to pull together and basically aggregate it into a coherent and useful persona document, but then you're also using it to enrich that information by brainstorming some ideas of its own. Like, AI is not smart, but it is able to come up with some new ideas for you to consider, as long as you're not relying on it 100%.
Yeah, I like that idea of mining for nuggets that maybe you wouldn't have seen or identified, but letting the AI surface some of those ideas and insights based on, large data sets, right? Thousands of reviews or thousands of customer support tickets, et cetera, and then mine for that insight.
Yeah, I've worked with a lot of emerging brands, so like startup e-commerce sites, and for forever I've been telling them, like, call your customers. So especially in the beginning when you don't have very many, and ask them, how did you find us? Why did you choose our product? What do you like? What do you not like? Did it arrive on time? All of that good stuff. But nowadays, I want to make sure that those calls are recorded so that we can give transcripts to AI to mine those nuggets. And be careful, because you might have to make sure you disclose that you're recording it, depending on what state you're in and what state they're in. So be very careful about that. But in addition to that, I used to tell the entrepreneurs that I work with to ask them, how did you find us? And that makes a lot of sense. Every business does that, because you're trying to figure out what marketing channel is working for you. But now what I'm telling them to ask is, like, let's say they were looking for baby onesies for a baby shower. And I would say, how did you search for the onesie? And that's a different question, and you'll likely get a different answer, because they might tell you what they typed into Google. They might tell you that they didn't use Google. They used Amazon or YouTube search engine or ChatGPT, something like that. Or they might tell you that they didn't type in baby onesie. They typed in, I need a baby onesie for my friend who does this and is really into organic fabrics, but not bamboo because she's allergic. Like, those are the types of complex queries that Google can handle now and ChatGPT can handle. So your customers, especially these consumer audiences that we're usually going after with e-commerce marketing, they're moving quickly in terms of adopting Perplexity.ai or alternative search engines, not just Google. So you want to make sure that you're talking to your customers so that you know where you need to be with your marketing. Now, with all of that said, right now Google is still where it's at, but it is shifting very slowly, and you want to make sure that you're asking the right questions so that you know where they are searching when they start using alternatives.
Yeah, that's a great applications. So back to e-commerce, what are some of the AI tools you'd recommend that an e-commerce site use? Could you just, 3 to 5 must-have tools?
I'll give you 3 to 5, but I'll start with one, which is really your large language model of choice, which is either going to be Gemini, ChatGPT, or Claude. Right now, I use Claude with the Claude Sonnet model, and it's great for writing. And the reason why I'm starting with only one is because for people who aren't super technical, you can get 90% of the way there just by focusing on ChatGPT or Claude. I would say Claude right now, and just learn how to use it, learn how to prompt it, share prompts with other folks on your team that you work with. That's also really important, because if you're sharing prompts with people on your team, you're basically doubling, tripling, quadrupling the amount of experimentation that you're all able to do to figure out what works. So if you put in the time to find, and I'll give you an example, like I have a monster prompt that I use to generate LinkedIn posts and other social posts. It has a huge persona. It has a style guide of how I want it to write. It has a very long list of words that I don't want it to use. And then I'll also give it a template, which is a description of whatever I'm trying to have it write. Now, that's a very long prompt that took me a long time to really get it to where I want it to be. But now that it's working, I can generate social posts that really only require a little bit of my attention to revise them. So you really want to make sure you're looking at what are these tasks that you're doing on a regular basis. It might be creating social posts. It might be promos or CTAs, whatever it is, or writing product descriptions if you have a lot of products that you're introducing to your catalog. But what are those tasks that you're doing on a regular basis that take a lot of time? And then put in the effort to perfect it, to build that monster prompt that does exactly what you want it to do, so you can reuse it over and over and over. And the time savings just builds over time. And that's what I did with my social post prompt.
And that's how you scale, right? I mean, if you build those prompts correctly, you can scale product descriptions, social ads, landing pages, you name it.
Yeah, and I did promise you some more. Zapier is a great tool for automation. There's so many things that you can automate. When you get an order in, moving inventory around, and sending marketing emails, like there's so much that you can automate. But it depends on your brand and your operations workflows. And AI plugs into Zapier. I do the same thing with Make.com. We are also using Gemini, which plugs into Google Suite. Now, Gemini is, if you think about like ChatGPT is for prompting and it can handle images and all that good stuff. Gemini, when you have it in your Google Suite, it has access to your email and your Google Drive if you use Gmail and Google Drive. And I found that to be very useful. And then there's Perplexity. Perplexity.ai is a search engine. You think of it as ChatGPT and Google had a baby, and you can query it and it gives you answers, which is better than the research project that Google gives you. When you search in Google, Google gives you 10 links. So you get to go to those websites, find your own answer, figure out if they're relevant, figure out if they're accurate. But Perplexity will give you an answer, which is usually good enough. And that's the direction that Google's moving, by the way.
Wow.
Interesting.
Great resources there.
Yeah. So you talked a little bit about content. So what about like creating content for SEO using AI? Is that valuable to Google? And do they rank it, or is it like, because I've seen that there's filters where it says, hey, put your AI through this filter so it doesn't look like AI.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on AI content, and is it valuable, and is Google filtering it?
So there's a lot there. And so the question people are asking is, can I write blog articles with AI? And you can, but AI is really just going to give you the average of what's been written on the web already. So if you're using AI to write blog articles, you're actually making a bunch of different mistakes. Like they could be plagiarized and you don't know. They're not going to be that interesting. And the reason Google's going to ignore them is because Google doesn't need information that Google already has. So if you're using an AI tool that's trained on everything that's already been written, then it's going to regurgitate information that Google already has. Now, with that said, the right way to use AI to generate content would be that the ideas are coming from you. So it's your personal perspective, your opinion, your descriptions of your products and the use cases for their products, for those products, and what makes those products special. And you're using AI to basically write it for you. So it used to be that when you were writing a product description, you were thinking and also writing at the same time. What AI really forces you to do and this is a positive thing, when you're using it well, is it forces you to separate the thinking from the writing. So if it's your thinking and the only thing AI is doing is just packaging it in a paragraph for you, using the writing style that you gave it and the guidelines you gave it, then that's useful. But you don't want the information and the thinking to come from the average on the web. And then the last thing that I'll say is that even before AI, blog articles were problematic. And blog articles have always been problematic for SEO because they're going after top of the funnel traffic. This is traffic without much purchase intent. They might be asking like, if I ski, do I need a boot? Or something like that. It's like, is that somebody who even skis? Probably not. They might be looking to rent skis when they go on their very first ski trip. But that's not somebody who's going to buy ski boots from you if you sell ski boots online. So a lot of those top of the funnel informational searches that are attracted by blog articles, that content was never converting and that traffic was never converting. We're looking at new formats for our content, like comparison pages, where you could get some data on your products, maybe your competitors' products, line up the comparisons side by side and just give some really useful information. And then there's another area that I'll mention really quickly, just because I just started to dive into it this week. So it's new for me and I know it's going to be huge, which is that you can use AI, especially Claude with its artifact feature, to create interactive widgets on your website. Think of them as like one-page apps. So we're talking to clients about using these as pricing tools or configurators for products that you might sell online, or customization tools. And you can create those as a marketer really quickly nowadays without a coder. And that's something that AI makes possible. So back in the day when I first started doing SEO, we would do 10x content. And 10x content is content that's so good, it helps your website build authority and attract backlinks. And what it was just really long, comprehensive articles. But now with AI, we could create these interactive one-page application widgets really easily. And we're looking at using those to generate, as basically just lead magnets that we can promote on social, and also get backlinks that help us for our SEO and that sort of thing. So it's a new form of SEO content.
Clever.
Yeah, that's great. So yeah, going back to A versus B and product, buyer guides and things like that. I know you've talked a lot about that. And of course, we've had conversations about Q&A in the past as good, BOFU, bottom of funnel content, high purchase intent, long tail. Any more thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, I love the buying guide concept. So we love to write niche buying guides. So it's not a decorating your new home buying guide. It's a blackout curtains buying guide, very specific. But as long as it's useful, as long as it's answering the questions that your customers have when they're making a purchase decision for your products, then it's a useful page. And Google will see that people are landing on the page, staying on the page, diving deeper into your site, buying something. And then that's content that Google wants to rank. But just to take it one step deeper with the buying guides, I also love to think about the buying guide mindset. When you're writing a buying guide, the whole point of a buying guide is to answer your customers' questions. Give them the information that they need so that they'll hit that buy button. And that's really the mindset that you want to have with every page on your website. Maybe it's a category page, maybe it's a product page, maybe it's an article, but what information do they need so that you're delivering them to the buy button?
Right.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, decision aids, really. What are the decision aids you can provide that's going to help them make an easy decision? So speaking of all that, AI or not AI, what are some of the key things on a product page that you think most e-commerce sites could use help with, or are missing, or could improve from an SEO perspective?
When it comes to product pages, typically we have descriptions and features and specifications and some images, and that makes sense. We definitely want to do that. But what a lot of sites are missing is like how you're going to use the product in context. So if it's a picnic blanket, so I might use a picnic blanket on the beach. I might use it at a ball game. I might use it when I'm tailgating. I might use it at the park in the grass. I might use it in the backyard with my kids when they're swinging on the swings. Like you want your customers to be able to see exactly how they can use it. The piece of advice that I was given a long time ago that I think has worked really well for me is to just know that your customers do not have imagination or vision. Like it's going to be hard for them to envision your product in the way that you, as the seller, the maker, whatever it is of the product, can really envision the way that they're using the product. And then another way that we're using AI for, let's say, product pages is I have a prompt that will look at a product page and say, what questions would my persona have about this product? And what's the answer based on what's on the product page? And then another good prompt is, what questions does this page answer? So that it'll give you those questions, and then you can have it generate, and then you can go in there and have it generate a 1 or 2 paragraph answer to that question based on the information on the page. And when I give that advice, some marketers will say, well, I don't get it, because the AI is just generating information that's already on the page in a different form. And what you're really doing when you do that is you're helping to deliver the information about the product in multiple formats, multiple ways, so that Google can pick up on whatever it wants to pick up on when it comes to showing that product page in the search results, or including the product in an AI overview or something like that.
Yeah, those are great suggestions. What about even asking a question like, what lifestyle images or photos or examples are missing from my photo carousel? Because
I love that. And give it a persona when you do that.
Right.
Because if your persona happens to be a mom with 3 kids, you're going to get different advice from the AI than if you just say, what's missing?
Yeah, exactly. A persona, and then you can get into those lifestyle. Because like you said, the customer doesn't have imagination. And a lot of times neither does the creator of that page, right? They're just taking stock images or maybe some UGC created content, but they're not thinking of all the variables like you went through with the picnic blanket, a dozen different applications for a product. But the more variations you can show and the lifestyle applications you can portray, the more people can envision using and having and owning that product. And also it's something they have to have.
Absolutely. And when you're using AI to do things like this, try multiple models, like try ChatGPT, Gemini, and Claude, which are the three that I'm using right now. I found that in many cases, one is significantly better than the others. And it's hard to really decide that up front or really to predict that up front without trying them for whatever it is you're doing, like generating product descriptions or helping you out with social media content, whatever it is.
Yeah, great recommendations.
Yeah.
Because everybody gets stuck on chat and then they just kind of stay with that.
So when you are working with a client, what's your process of going through their site and like figuring out what they need for SEO?
So it really starts with understanding where are they at. So, and every site that we work with is different. Some are just getting started. So we just want to get them established, get them out of the sandbox. And there are others that have a ton of traffic on the other end of the spectrum. And it's really more about CRO at that point, where we're looking at the traffic that they have, and we're looking at the keywords that are driving converting traffic. And then we're looking for more opportunities to optimize for those intents, the intents behind those keywords that are actually converting. A lot of times when websites have traffic, the traffic just isn't converting. It's like, we're doing some SEO, we're writing blog articles, we're getting a lot of traffic, but it's not actually converting. And I think what has surprised me working with a number of different e-com brands is that they're getting traffic, but they don't really know where the sales are coming from. So there's a huge amount of leverage there for me coming in from the outside, just being the guy that's asking the question about where the sales are coming from, and then narrowing our focus down to whatever type of traffic that is.
Yeah. Traffic and search terms. That's great.
So, well, we really appreciate your time today. We usually end with the same question every time, which is our $1 million question. So the $1 million question that we ask is, as an AI and an SEO expert, what's the one thing that you would recommend to an e-commerce website owner that could have the biggest impact in their business?
I really think it has to do with using AI to make the customer research easier so that you actually do it. So many marketers don't talk to their customers. They might be digital marketers who are hiding behind keyword research or analytics or something like that. But if you're talking to your customers and then also monitoring your competitors so you understand what works for your competitors, the reason why we don't do it is because it takes so much time. Mm-hmm. But if AI tools can help you to record conversations and pull gems out of those transcripts, or to automatically monitor the offers that your competitors are putting out on social and on their website, then that can make that type of research and monitoring easier to do, to the point that you're able to do it right and benefit. Because we all know that if we were just really able to hone in on the exact right messaging for the exact right market that we're going after, that is a multiplier, like a force multiplier for all of the marketing that we do.
Yeah. So true. Great input. Well, Dale, it's been amazing having you on the show, and your insights and experience are invaluable. How can people get a hold of you, and how can you help people that are listening today?
Well, I'm always happy to talk about SEO and e-com SEO. That's what I do. That's what I think about in the shower. I'm Dale at fireandspark.com, all spelled out. So feel free to shoot me an email if you have an SEO question. And then I'm on LinkedIn. So I write about SEO and a number of other topics related to AI and digital marketing. So connect with me on LinkedIn. But yeah, if you reach out directly, I'm happy to talk.
Fantastic. And we'll put all your links in the show notes so people can reach out. Having spent a lot of time with you on different webinars and speaking engagements. You're a wealth of information. So I always recommend people reach out and talk to you about AI, SEO. And don't forget to get your free copy of Reputation King at reputationking.com. And Dale, thanks again. And we look forward to seeing you on our next episode of the E-commerce Traffic and Conversion Podcast. Have an amazing day.
Take care.
Bye-bye.